For the most part of my life, I've been a serial procrastinator. Like, I delayed getting my license till the age of 21. Like, I literally used to ask my mother, my sister to drop me to places here and there, and they were kind of annoyed by that. The reason why I didn't get my driver's license was because I didn't want to take the classes. I didn't want to give the exam. It was because I was too lazy, and this all seemed like way too much of a headache. So being a serial procrastinator means that many domains of your life are just messed up. I was shit at academics too. That autistic kid that sits at the back bench? That was me. My assignments were due, my homework was incomplete, my grades were pretty shitty because I only used to start studying for exams literally days before the exams. At some point I became self-aware and I could see my life declining. I could see all this potential that I have going to waste, and that is when I decided that I'm going to flip my life around. I have to make some changes. So for the next 5 years I read hundreds of self-improvement books, watched thousands of videos on productivity, tried a bunch of supplements, tools, techniques, experimented with a whole lot of things. And in this video I'm going to talk about one such principle that completely flipped my life around. My name is Jibreal Khan and I've been a software engineer at Fortune 500 companies like Dell Technologies, AMD, Synopsys. Additionally, I've been a top performing student in both my bachelor's program and my master's program. And I was able to do things while pursuing personal development, lifting weights, and training martial arts 6 times a week. My goal with this channel is to help people quit procrastination and become the best versions of themselves. So I hope that my personal transformation lends some credibility to what I'm about to say next. Looking back at my life, I realized something. I realized that as soon as I used to wake up, I used to just check my notifications, see if I got any messages from friends or something. And then I used to scroll. See 60-second clips, videos, interesting posts. And that is how I literally started my day. As soon as my eyes were open, even before I got off the bed, I used to give myself some stimulation. And any time that I got during the rest of the day, before classes or after university, any single slots of free time, they were filled with such activities that gave me stimulation. They could be things like playing video games, watching a bunch of shows on Netflix, or even binge eating fast food. All these were my sedating mechanisms. I had been doing this for years and years, but I finally realized that the more I give myself this unearned pleasure, this excessive dopamine, the lazier I felt, the lower my mood became, and I lost my motivation. I lost any desire to do anything productive from that point onwards. I want you to really imagine this. Just close your eyes and imagine this. Imagine you're doing something like playing video games or binge watching Netflix shows, or scrolling through social media, just lying on your couch and surfing the web for 4 hours straight. These activities release an absurd amount of dopamine, and you've been doing this for 4 hours straight. And then I come to you and be like, hey buddy, this is some work, some hard work that I want you to do. This could be stuff regarding your university, school life, or actually your work life. And I'll be like, you know what? Do this right now. What do you think your response is going to be? Do you think that you are going to want to do any sort of hard work, anything that requires effort? The answer is no, because you've literally taught your brain that you can earn pleasure without putting in any effort at all. This is what these activities are literally teaching you. They're rewiring your brain into being a dopamine seeking machine. And this machine does not like doing hard work. So your body was designed to sort of build up tolerance. Imagine you go to the gym, first day you lift something, and the next day that thing feels a bit lighter because you've kind of adapted to it. You have built up some tolerance. You need a more heavier weight to cause that same stimulation. That's exactly what happens with instant gratification. The more you do it, the higher the dose you actually require to feel that same amount of stimulation again. So once I understood this principle that there is no such thing as free pleasure, like any sort of unearned pleasure that an activity gives you, it comes at the expense of the future you. It robs the future you of happiness. It robs the future you of motivation. It lowers your mood in the future. That's the price you pay. It's literally like a happiness loan. Each time you eat candy, brownies, binge watch shows on Netflix, play video games, watch pornography, you are literally taking a happiness loan, and it's with interest. You're going to feel worse, way worse in the future. And when you feel worse in the future, you feel tired, unmotivated, guess what? You are bound to procrastinate things. You're bound to procrastinate all the productive things and take another loan. So this becomes this vicious cycle of you being in debt. And I call this the happiness debt. If you're someone who enjoys these raw, low dopamine kind of videos where we actually value information more than just pointless entertainment, then consider subscribing to my channel, because I'm going to be making many more of these videos. And I really wanted to get out of this happiness debt, this loop, this vicious cycle that I was in. So what I did was I literally noted down all the things that gave me free pleasure, all these agents of corruption. I made a list, was like, okay, what's the first thing? Video games, got to eliminate that. The second thing is social media. I surf a lot, I browse a lot, got to eliminate that. Third thing is that my diet is garbage. I eat horrendous food with 40, 50 ingredients in them. These were things that I was never designed to eat, got to eliminate that. And once I made this list, I eliminated all these activities cold turkey. No negotiations, no moderation. I was like, you know what? These things are like drugs. These things are literally like gateway drugs. And I can't moderately inject them into my system because, to be honest, quitting them cold turkey is actually easier than trying to moderate their usage. You know, like you have to clench your fist and bite down on your gum shield and be like, oh, I'm not going to have one more bite. Oh, I'm not going to play for one more hour. Oh, I'm not going to surf for 10 more minutes. That is way harder than never starting the activity to begin with. Now, I know quitting these habits that you've been doing for like 10 plus years, it's easier said than done. Because what really happens is that once you get addicted to instant pleasure, once you constantly satisfy yourself instantly with all these things, you actually begin to lose your willpower. You literally lose your ability to say no to these activities. And this isn't some bro science. Like literally, there is a region of your brain which is responsible for willpower. That region begins to shrink when you flood your brain with instant pleasure, when you don't show any resistance. So I'm going to tell you a hack to like rebuild your willpower. Like I had like completely destroyed my willpower with all these activities that I've been doing. The easiest way to rebuild your willpower is through fasting. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but hear me out. Once you actually begin to fast, like go for like 16, 18, 19, 20 hours, whatever, you have to build it up. Once you actually begin to say no to something as fundamental as food and water, you actually get the reps in. You actually build your motivation back up. You actually build your ability to say no. Once you can say no to food and water for hours, then saying no to chocolate, saying no to video games, saying no to pornography, all these things become way easier. You have literally grown that region of your brain that generates willpower. Like it has a name. It's something called anterior mid-cingulate cortex. I don't know if you're interested in that. There's another thing that I noticed when I was doing my dopamine detox journey. It's that you have way too much free time. Like when you're not sedating yourself with video games, Netflix, food, pornography, then you have like a good 4 to 5 extra hours in a day. That was true in my case. I was like, whoa, what do I do in all this free time? I am bored. I cannot just sit and stare at walls like most of these fake self-improvement YouTubers are telling you that, hey, that's how you dopamine detox, lock yourself in a room and have no stimulus at all and just stare at walls. No, that's a recipe for disaster. Boredom is like what's going to cause you to seek these instant gratification things in the first place. So boredom is not something that I seek in my dopamine detox journey. You need to fill this void, this space, this free time that you have with activities that give you delayed gratification. And these activities are usually very productive activities, such as going to the gym or reading a book or going out with a friend for a walk. Stuff that actually requires you to make some sort of effort and then get a reward later on. And you're going to ask me, hey Jibreal, what's the reward that you're talking about? How do I secrete dopamine by hitting the gym or reading? The truth is that your brain actually releases dopamine when you tick something off a to-do list. If it knows that, okay, this guy is heading in some direction where his goals are, your brain actually secretes dopamine. So you can actually get that same amount of fun, same amount of excitement through delayed gratification, through ticking things off a to-do list. Make a schedule, list a few activities that you would like to get done throughout the day and do them. And your brain is going to release dopamine. It's going to be like, good job, proud of you, buddy. Like people tend to think that happiness or motivation or willpower, these things are like just binary. You have it or you don't have it. I would actually argue that these things are in a spectrum, you know. Imagine like a line, and on this side of the line is all this happiness, motivation, joy, fulfillment. On this side of the line is just sadness, misery, and lack of motivation. Each time you do activities that give you instant gratification, you head towards the bad side. And each time you do activities that give you delayed gratification, they actually demand that you do hard work. That is when you hit this side of the spectrum, the happy side. If you're an ambitious person and you have a lot of these goals in life, but procrastination and bad habits, they're just pinning you down, then click on the link in the description and book a one-on-one call with me. In this call, we'll discuss where exactly you are in life, what your problems are, and what exactly are your goals and how I can help you reach them. Remember this, information without action is just clutter. And don't be the sort of person who just accumulates clutter. Take action now.